the 7th of June. This is the 22nd episode of season 4 of the Be Your Own Hero Show. HERO is an acronym. It means helping everyone reach optimism. In other words, helping others helps you. I'm your host. I'm sekouwrites. I'm a professional creative. I'm an author, journalist, speaker, and I am the creator of the HERO Ministry movement, which is my effort to uplift, inspire people in general and the unhoused community in specific. So join me here Monday through Friday, 9:45 a.m. Eastern, 8:45 a.m. Central, 7:45 a.m. Mountain, to hear me talk about my journey of becoming my own financial hero and my own hero in general. Shout out to New Thought Media Network for allowing me this platform to talk about my journey. And also, I hope this show serves you in some way, that my journey serves your journey in some way. And all that said, just a reminder, I'm not a personal trainer, nor am I a financial advisor, so take what I say with a grain of salt, which is to say, do your own due diligence. Don't be satisfied with just what I say. Go out there in the world and do your own due diligence, do your own research, and add to what happens here. All right. I think that's it for the introductory stuff. Welcome. Thanks for being here. And thanks for checking in for the people in the chat. Happy Abundant Tuesday. I like it, Gladys. I like that. Good morning, Linda from Colorado. I saw beautiful snow-capped mountains when I looked out the window of the airplane in Denver. Anyway, so let's get into it. Starting off with Hero Ministry Movement news. So today is day 372. That means I've been running every single day consecutively. I don't know why people keep asking me if the days are consecutive. So I'm trying to be specific about my languaging. Every single consecutive day since the first day of June last year. So yeah, wow. I hadn't phrased it that way before, so it just kind of hit me from June to June. Anyway, every single consecutive day for the past 372 days. And I have raised money in the process. I've raised more than $7,000 for more than 10 different charities over the course of that time. And we're on mission again. We're on mission. There have been several missions within the Sekou Hero Charity Run. And now there is the newest mission. And I'm still trying to figure out how to phrase this best because there's so many elements. It is, first of all, a birthday challenge. June is my birthday month. So just like last year, my birthday challenge to myself was to run a mile a day for 30 days. This year, it's to run at least 2 miles a day every day for the month of June. So that's number one. Number two, I'm raising money for Back on My Feet, which is a nonprofit based in Philly, which combines two of the things that I'm most passionate about, running and working with the unhoused community and merging those things together. So I'm very excited about that. My goal is to raise $3,650 for Back on My Feet. $3,650 because that's a derivative of 365. Shout out to Lindsay for making that suggestion. So 365, obviously, because May 31st was my day 365 that I've been doing this for a year. So that's part two. Part two, well, I guess that's part three, right? Part one is it's a birthday challenge, 2 miles a day. Part two is I'm raising money for Back on My Feet. Part three is the month of June is my anniversary. It's my anniversary celebration, my 1-year anniversary of running a mile a day. So even though I'm on day 372, I'm still thinking of it as 365 because I'm still celebrating my anniversary. This is why it gets challenging to explain to people, but it's basically my anniversary month. There we go. It's my anniversary month. And then fourth and final, I think, my successful effort to raise $3,650 for Back on My Feet secures my position in the upcoming New York City Marathon. What? So yeah, one thing leads to the other. I raised the money for Back on My Feet, and that means that I get to run in the marathon because open enrollment for the marathon is closed. And this is the way to get into the marathon. And this will be my very first marathon, New York City Marathon, November 6, 2022. And I love how so many people in my community are suddenly talking about the marathon. There's like, I've made a list of about 4 or 5 people that I know that are already running and are doing similar things. They're raising money or they registered in advance or whatever. But I've got a crew already of people in the New York City Marathon. That's very cool. From New York, from Nashville, from all over. All right, super excited about that. So that's what's going on. Let me put the link up again so that you can help and donate. So the link is herocharityrun.com. Sorry, my eyes are watering. Herocharityrun.com. And I added the news segment about me to this link. So you go to herocharityrun.com, you'll see the news segment about me. So if ever you want to watch it again, because I definitely have. If ever you want to watch it again or you want to see it for the first time, you haven't seen it, just go to herocharityrun.com. The news piece about me is the very first thing you'll see. And underneath that, you'll see how to donate to the project I just talked about, Back on My Feet, as a bid for me to compete in the New York City Marathon. And then below that, you'll see hyperlinks for the various charities and causes that I've donated to during the course of this year. And you can get involved with those charities directly and make donations directly. Okay, so I hope all that makes sense. Trying to make it clear for folks because there's a lot of moving parts there. So that's what's going on. Go to the website, herocharityrun.com, and spread the news. Spread the news. I got a donation from somebody I don't know yesterday. That always feels like a milestone for me every time I do a new mission. The first time I get a donation from someone I don't know, I feel like, okay, it's spreading beyond my circle of influence now. So that's very exciting. All right, herocharityrun.com. I'm just going to leave that up on the screen and you can check it out. Okay, so other things I want to talk about in terms of Hero Ministry Movement news. So when I was in Idaho, for those of you that don't know, I just got back from Sun Valley, Idaho. I got asked a lot of questions because this was a new group of people to me. They had lots of questions. And one of them was, which day was the hardest? That's not exactly what they said, but it loosely translated to which day was the hardest. And ironically, the hardest day for me was day 364. Day 364. You wouldn't expect that, right? Because we're almost done. We're almost done. Mentally, psychologically, we're almost done. But day 364 was the hardest. And the period of time that was the hardest was after day 350. So basically, from 351 to 365 was the hardest stretch. The final stretch was the hardest. And I'm sure that had something to do with my mind trying to shake me down, trying to break me down and shake me down and stop me from accomplishing this goal. And day 364 was the hardest because it was a rough travel day and for so many small reasons. But I just want to emphasize this for the people who are inspired by me and want to start doing something similar. You're never going to feel like doing it. Like you can just put that out of your head. You're not going to feel like doing it. It's not about feeling like doing it. It's about overcoming the fact that you don't feel like doing it. Because I can safely say that there's only been 5 sure days when I felt like it. The rest of the days, the other 360 days, I just had to get after it. And so that's number one. In terms of how to think about this, just remember you're not going to feel like it. Just do it anyway. That's number one. Number two, choose a very small goal, the smallest possible goal, because you need to rack up wins. That's good for your psychology. Rack up wins. Your very small goal could be to walk to the end of the driveway and back. Very small goal. So you do that and you win. Now you can obviously do more than that, but if you keep yourself, what's the right word? If you hold yourself to at least doing that small thing, then you rack up wins and that affects your psychology and that keeps you going. And you want to rack up wins because what happens is people start off too big. They say, oh, I'm gonna run 7 miles a day. And then you run 7 miles the first day and then you do it the second day. It's not as easy and it just gets progressively harder because it's not sustainable. You have to build the habit first and then improve it. So walking back and forth to the driveway will build the habit of you doing something every day. And then you just build on it later. You improve it later. All right, I'm getting off on a tangent, but I just wanted to say that because several people now are telling me that they're following my lead. And I just want you to be prepared that you're not going to feel like doing it. You'll feel like doing it day one, but day two, after day one, you're going to have this stretch where you don't feel like doing it. You got to do it anyway, and you got to have a very small goal that helps you do it anyway, because it's a very small goal. Don't worry about how small it is. Just worry about establishing the habit of doing it every day. All right, I'm done. Moving on. Okay, so other things that happened in Idaho, people got very used to me overachieving, I guess. Like, I was just shocked that people got used to me so quickly. So here's a funny story related to that. One of the days I came downstairs to the lobby at 6:30 a.m. Now, every morning at 6:30 a.m., there was a group walk, right? So I joined the group walk at 6:30 a.m. and people asked me if I had gone running already. And I was like, no, I'm going to go running now. While you guys walk, I'm going to go run. And they were like, are you feeling okay? Is everything all right? because even by then, I had gotten them used to me getting up at like 5:30 in the morning and going to run and then joining the group walk, right? So they were like, are you all right? So it's just amazing how quickly you can get used. You can train people to expect excellence of you just in a couple of days. All you got to do is show up for yourself and excel, and the people around you will react to that, even if they're brand new to you. Okay, that's enough about that. Moving on. So yesterday I ended up in a kind of random tangent off on a branch talking about how I was locked in the bathroom of the plane on my way back, and how I didn't come up with the right word yesterday, but the word is reactive. So I realized yesterday during the show that I was less reactive during my trip to Idaho. And that's interesting because I didn't really feel like the transcendental meditation that I'm doing twice a day, every day, or the goal is twice a day. Sometimes I miss, but at least once a day, every day. I didn't really feel like it was having much of an effect. Unlike Rev Mel, who talks about it all the time, I didn't feel like it was making much of a difference. But I've been proven wrong because, as you heard me talk about yesterday, if you watched the show, there were many things that happened in Idaho that other people around me found upsetting that really didn't register to me at all. And the reason I'm bringing it back up is because I've spent the rest of the day yesterday thinking about that. And there's two things I want to share with you. One is about transcendental meditation. So here we go. 163 studies published by American Psychological Association concluded that transcendental meditation is effective in reducing anxiety and negative emotions. Okay, so we're talking about clinical empirical data. 163 different studies concluded that transcendental meditation is effective in reducing anxiety and negative emotions. Now, until yesterday, I didn't really feel like that was happening, right? But when I look back over my time in Idaho and I think about the things that happened that could have upset me, that would have upset me in the past, and the reaction of some of the people around me to those things, I realized that yes, transcendental meditation, in addition to some other things, in addition to running every day, has really lowered my stress response. It's made me less reactive. So I'm grateful for that. And also, this is an advertisement for transcendental meditation, because if it can do that for me, and I wasn't really believing in it, imagine what it could do for you. So check it out. Just Google it, Transcendental Meditation. It's not a meditation that you can just grab a book and learn. You actually have to take a class. I took my class during the pandemic after Rev Mel started raving about it. And I was like, I didn't want to be left out. So check it out, Transcendental Meditation. Also, as I continued to think about being less reactive yesterday, I thought of a book. A book kind of floated up in my mind that I read before. It's called, let me get the title exactly right, Learned Optimism. Learned Optimism by Martin Seligman. So, how to summarize? He is a cognitive behavioral therapist, which is probably the most common type of psychologist. And what he discovered over time was that therapy is about studying challenges. Like, what's your issue? What's your challenge? And let's unpack that and let's fix that. But that said, spiritually, energetically, you're constantly looking for the problem, constantly looking for the challenge, constantly looking for the issue, which trains your mind to focus on challenges, on issues, right? And we know on this show, we've talked about it a lot, on this network, We Thought Media Network, we talked about it a lot. What you think about, you bring about. So when you get in the habit of only looking for issues, challenges, problems, then that applies itself to the rest of your life. You're always looking for issues, challenges, problems. So I'm going to read you something from the book. This, just bringing it full circle, I realized that subconsciously, that's what was happening for me, that was exhibited in Idaho. That not focusing on the challenges, on the issues, on the problems, opened me up to be lighter and more carefree. So that's it. Let me read you something from Learned Optimism. Once again, this is by Martin Seligman. This is the cover. Can you see that? Oh, no, you can't even see that. So, nah. Nope. Sorry. Okay. Anyway, let me read this passage. Okay. So psychology is about curing the negative. We just talked about that. Like, the point of it is you have an issue, you have a challenge, you come to a therapist and they help you solve that issue, right? But this is what he discovered. Curing the negative does not produce the positive. Let's say that again. Curing the negative does not produce or create the positive. That's important. Okay, so strangely, one can both be happy and sad. Not at the same time, but you can both be happy and sad, because the skills of becoming happy turn out to be almost entirely different from the skills of not being sad. I'll say that again. The skills of becoming happy turn out to be radically different. I'm going to use my own word there. From the skill of not being sad. In other words, not being sad is not the same as being happy. Not being sad is not the same as being happy. All right? So next passage. At its best, psychology had only told us how to relieve misery, not how to find what is best in life and live it accordingly. I'll read that again. At its best, psychology had only told us how to relieve misery, not how to find what is best in life and live it accordingly. Serious stuff, right? Serious stuff. And it applies to the laws that we've been talking about. What you think about, you bring about. If you're only looking for challenges, for issues, for problems to fix, even if you fix them, you're still looking for challenges and issues and problems. And it's not the same muscle as becoming happy. So this is very much the same as the other book that I was reading recently, which is, that I discovered in Idaho, The Happiness Advantage. Once again, you see how all these different texts, all these different teachings line up. So basically, both The Happiness Advantage and Learned Optimism say that happiness first, then success. Happiness first, then success. That's how you become successful. But what we're taught in society is do this thing, get straight A's, then you'll be happy. Get a great job, then you'll be happy. Get a pension, then you'll be happy. Right? The carrot keeps moving. We have to achieve that thing and then we are supposed to achieve happiness, but it doesn't work that way. You have to be able to become happy right now in this moment. And that's what creates the change in your spirit that allows for success. And even that is its own form of success. Being able to be happy now by expressing gratitude is its own form of success. So anyway, I'm so grateful to the universe for letting that book bubble up. I read that book at the beginning of the pandemic, and I thought I forgot about it, but I didn't. It was just kind of kicking around in there. So Learned Optimism by Martin Seligman, I highly recommend it. And I am rereading it now, and probably I'll be talking more about it on the show. But happiness first, then success. If you don't remember anything else I said today, happiness first, right now, happiness. And that will breed success. Okay, so we're just going to call that The Morning Zen, because that's the book that I was reading this morning, Learned Optimism. One more thing about the book. He talks about having a positive explanatory style. Martin Seligman in Learned Optimism talks about having a positive explanatory style. This is relevant because yesterday I was talking about how a friend of mine suggested that maybe the journalist who interviewed me for my charity run, maybe the journalist wanted to talk to me in the coffee shop to see if there was a story for her to tell before she interviewed me on camera, right? And that gave me a positive charge when thinking about it that way. Well, Martin Seligman did a lot of research, and the key to happiness, one of the major keys to happiness, is having a positive explanatory style, which is basically what I just described. So something happens, and in my case, I felt some kind of way about the fact that I did my best in the coffee shop, and I didn't feel like I did my best outside on camera, right? So that's what happened, and that's how I felt about it. But when you apply a positive explanatory style, you review what happened and decide that there was a positive spin. You decide what the positive spin is. So in the example we're using, the positive spin is she needed to see that I had a story to tell. And she saw that I did have a story to tell. And therefore I graduated to moving outside to being on camera, right? You can decide what the positive spin on anything that has happened to you is. Doesn't matter what it is. Maybe you missed out on a big stock. You can decide to think about this, like, oh, I missed out on that stock, but my intuition was right. I have a great intuition about stock picks. You can focus on the positive. You can choose what the positive is and focus on that. And that positive explanatory style creates positive vibes in your life and creates success in your life. Now, I'm not going to get into this right now, but Martin, in his book, did this experiment with people who sell life insurance. And maybe I'll talk about that tomorrow, but I've kind of gone off on a tangent for a bit, and I want to get back to the money because we got to talk about Amazon. But just check out the concept of positive explanatory style. Google that, go down the rabbit hole, and invite yourself to have a positive explanatory style. Choose something that happened in, this is the same exercise as yesterday. Choose something that you have negative ruminations about, and remix it. Give it a positive spin that you now believe in. All right, moving on. I got a bunch more to say, and I'm, off on these tangents. Okay, dice roll challenge really quickly. Yesterday, the number was 4. Today, the number is 3. Move that money out of your checking over into your savings or your investment account so that you can invest that money. What did I say? Today's number is 3. Yesterday was 4. Okay. All right, let's jump into abundance. I'm going to do the affirmation really quickly, and then I want to talk about the stock market, what's going on in the stock market. Okay, where's my affirmation? Here we go. Okay, I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. Feel it in your bones. It's the feeling tone that will make it come true. Do your car affirmation too. Tomorrow I'm going to ask how many people are doing the car affirmation. I want to check to see who's rocking with me on that. All right, moving on. Abundance. So, reminder, if you only spend, you'll stay poor. If you only save, you'll stay middle class. If you want to change your financial fortune, you must invest. You must invest. That said, 2 things. First, that applies to me. As I said, in Idaho, everyone was buying souvenirs, and I kept myself from buying souvenirs. It was hardest at the airport coming out. I almost bought like a Sun Valley t-shirt and a Sun Valley baseball hat just to have a souvenir. But I kept myself from spending that money, but that's only half credit. The second part of the credit comes from using that same amount of money and spending it in the stock market. So I did that today. I estimated the shoes that I was going to buy in Sun Valley were about $55. Add another $10 for a souvenir. That's about $65. I took $65 out of my checkings and I moved it into my which portfolio? Schwab, into my Schwab portfolio. And then I purchased one share of Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola shares are about $65 and they are one of the Dow components. One of the 30 Dow components. Coca-Cola is one of them. So this adds on to my collection of Dow components. I now have 8, and 4 of them were less than $100. 4 of them were less than $100, including Coca-Cola, which was only 65. Now, once again, the work has been done for me, for us. They're already vetted. These stocks are a part of the Dow, and they have to maintain certain criteria to remain part of the Dow. So you don't have to worry about them. The work's already been done, right? You don't have to wonder if Coca-Cola is a good stock. It's in the Dow. It's a good stock. So I made that purchase today, and so now I get credit for using my money differently, for not buying random things in Idaho, not buying souvenirs, but instead setting that money aside to own my tomorrow by buying a share of Coca-Cola stock, which is one of the 30 Dow components. Okay, that's number one. Number two, Amazon. I said it yesterday. Let's get into it. Amazon did split. The stock did split. So yesterday, Amazon stock went from about $2,600. Let's just round it up to $3,000. $3,000 per share, all the way down to $122 per share. Now, funny story. A friend of mine bought a full share of Amazon based on my recommendation months ago when I said right here on this show that Amazon was going to split and Tesla was going to split, right? Based on that, he was thinking about buying a fancy new hat. Instead of buying the fancy new hat, he bought one share of Amazon. He was upset about it at the time because he didn't mean to buy a full share, but he did. And I convinced him not to sell it, right? Keep it. Well, as of yesterday, his one share of Amazon became 20 shares. He had one share and it split 20 times. So all of a sudden, as of yesterday, he had 20 shares. And he credits me with giving him the suggestions, both then and now, to utilize that money for his future. Now, the lesson for me is more of the same, that I still need to practice leaning into faith, because I was the one that told him Amazon's going to split months ago, and he bought a full share. I did not buy a full share. Could I have? Yes, I would have felt it, but I could have done it. I didn't. So yesterday, I told you what I did. I put $300 into the stock market. Then, about the same time that he bought a full share, I put $300 on Amazon. The idea being that when it split, I would automatically get 2 shares, right? That's not what happened. Because Amazon has been down over the past couple of weeks, my $300 was diluted to a little bit less than $300. So when the stock split happened, I got 1.7 shares. And then I just put in the difference to round it up to 2. But that said, if I had followed my own advice months ago, I would have had 1 share then, and it would have automatically split to 20 shares yesterday. And I would have been in before it went up. So just a reminder to myself to trust myself, that I have actionable intel now, that I'm understanding the stock market better than I ever have and better than the average person. And the things that I'm saying are actually helpful to people. So all that said, if you haven't got in on Amazon, I don't know what you're waiting on, but I got my 2 shares and I'm going to get some more and I'm going to pay more attention to it. And shout out to my friend that got 20 shares because of my recommendation months ago. Okay, so it's time for prayer time. So I'm going to cut myself short. Stay tuned for prayer time. And then after that, stay tuned for Sit with Rev Melissa at 10:30. In the meantime, keep doing. Be a hero. Be your own financial hero. And remember that now is better than perfect in everything, but especially in terms of investing. And I'll see you tomorrow. Later.